Hey boys and girls, so today is Unit 2 review. We will be reviewing for our test. First thing you need to do is put your name at the top of the page. That way you can earn full credit for today's lesson. All right, and let's just jump right in. So as I look at number 1, it says the statement, the sum of 5 times a number and 3 is the same as 34, can be expressed as what? So this is something we learned actually right at the beginning of this unit in lesson 1. Anytime they give us a word form, we want to translate over into number form. So as I'm reading this through, I'm actually thinking of cubing the question, right? C-U-B-E-S, cubes. So just as a refresher, I want to circle key numbers. I want to underline the question, if there is one. I want to box my math action words. Again, those are words that tell me to do something. After I've done all those steps, then I want to evaluate what I have, so then I can go ahead and solve to get a final answer. All right, so let's start off by, again, cubing this question here. So I'm going to circle my key numbers. The sum of 5 times a number and 3 is the same as 34. All right, so those are all my key numbers. Now I want to go and underline the question. That would normally be the next step, but there is no question here. We're going to see this in more of like a word problem-based question, and that will be in another unit. So we can skip this step for right now because it's not asking us to solve for anything. We just want to translate these words into number form instead. So now it says box math action words. So I'm going to go back. Sum is a key word. It tells me to add. Times is a key word. Tells me to multiply. Is the same as represents an equal sign. So now I know this is going to be some type of equation. And then I can go and check my answer choices to see which one looks like what we found. So as we look here, I want to add 5 times x and 3. So I want to add 5 times x and 3, and that's supposed to equal 34. So when I look back at my number choices, it looks like choice C matches what we've rewrote here, and that's going to be my final answer for number 1. All right, number 2. It says to find the volume of a rectangular prism, Nicole used the formula V equals LWH. Rearranging the formula to find the width W, the new formula would be W equals and then what? Okay, anytime you see a question like this, I know it looks ugly because it's got a lot of different variables here, and it just looks like it's going to be challenging, when actually this question is pretty simple. So the first thing that I want to do is just rewrite the equation. V equals LWH. Now the question's asking me to find W. So I'm just going to box out W because I know that's the variable that I want. That means L and H are variables that I do not want. So right now I'm only looking at the right-hand side and I'm asking myself, how do I get rid of L and H? Well, anytime I have letters paired up like this, it's representing multiplication. I don't see a plus sign anywhere. I don't see a minus sign anywhere. I don't see the symbol for division. So I know that this is multiplication. Just like in number 1, 5 and x, I don't see a 5 plus x, 5 minus x, 5 divided by x. So when there's no operation, I know it's multiplication. So back down here, again, this is multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So instead of multiplying L and H with W, now I'm going to divide out L and H because I want to get rid of them. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So L and H are gone on the right-hand side. All I have left is W. And V divided by LH is going to just stay the same. Nothing's canceling out. These are not like terms. Nothing's changing here. So W equals V over LH. When I look back at my answer choices, choice D is matching. So number 2 is D. Number 3, which represents the value of x in the equation 5 times x plus 2 minus 11 equals 14? Okay, first step, I want to draw my train tracks here because I know I'm going to solve this equation because it says the value of x is going to be what I'm solving for x. Okay, I have to get rid of these parentheses first, and that means I want to look at the coefficient, that number in front, in order for me to start. I see my coefficient is 5, so in order for me to get rid of parentheses, I have to multiply or distribute that 5 to each one of his neighbors that are inside the parentheses. So now I'm going to multiply. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times positive 2 is positive 10. I bring down that minus 11, and it's going to equal 14. And then I would solve this like I would any other equation. So as I look at the left-hand side, this looks a little busy, so I want to combine like terms if I can. Well, I know that positive 10 and negative 11 are like terms. I can always combine numbers together. So I'm going to type that into my calculator as 10 minus 11. Here we go, 10 minus 11, and that's going to get me a negative 1. So now I have 5x minus 1 equals 14. I look on the left-hand side, there's no like terms. Look at the right-hand side, there's no like terms. So now I have to combine like terms that are on opposite sides. So all of my x's are on the left. That means I want to move all my numbers to the right. So the opposite of subtraction is addition. If I'm going to the opposite side, I have to do the opposite operation. So now these will cancel. All I have left is 5x, and that's going to equal 15, right? 14 plus 1 is 15. And then last but not least, again, I want to get x by itself. The opposite of multiplication is division. So now I'm going to divide 5 on both sides. This cancels. And x is going to equal 3. Okay, and I can see that that's going to be choice C. And I'm ready to move on. Something like number 3, I can plug x back in to make sure that I got the right answer choice. It's called doing a check. So before I flip to the next page, I just want to quickly go over that. So if you ever want to check a multiple choice answer on a test or a quiz, that's a good strategy to use. First thing I'm going to do is just rewrite the problem. So it's 5 times x plus 2 minus 11 equals 14. But now I know what the value of x is. I know it's really the number 3. So now it's going to be 5 times not x, but 3 plus 2 minus 11 equals 14. And again, I have my handy dandy calculator here, so I'm going to type in this entire thing right onto my screen. 5 parenthesis, 3 plus 2, close it, minus 11, enter, and I get 14. Does 14 equal 14? It absolutely does. So I know that x equals 3 was the correct choice. All right, moving on. Flipping to the next page here. All right, so we got number 4. Number 4 says we want to solve for x and state how many solutions each of the following equations have. So there were 3 types of solutions that we talked about earlier in this unit. You could have no solution. That means there's no answer at all. Infinite solutions, which means there's multiple different answers. Or one solution, like we just saw on number 3. Let me go back for one quick minute. There was only one answer, and it was x equals 3. Okay. So let's look at A, and then we'll kind of work from there. If I wanted to solve this, first step again, I just like to draw my train tracks in, it helps me. Next, I'm noticing parentheses right off the bat on the left-hand side. I see there's a negative 2 out front. That means I'm going to multiply or distribute that negative 2 to all of the neighbors inside parentheses. So that 17 just comes down. I'm leaving it alone right now. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, and that's going to equal the right-hand side. But if I look, the right-hand side looks kind of busy right now. So if I want, I can combine like terms right now. I have a 3x in the front, I have a negative 5x in the back. If I grab my handy-dandy calculator and I type in 3 minus 5, I get negative 2. So I know that this is now going to be a negative 2x, and the plus 1 just comes down. And then I keep solving from here. All right, so if I look at the left-hand side, again, looking pretty busy. So I'm going to combine my like terms, 17 and negative 4. So in the calculator, I'm going to type in 17 minus 4, and I get 13. So now I have 13 minus 2x, I'm just bringing that down, equals negative 2x plus 1. All right, and then I'm just going to keep combining like terms. All right, well, I want my x's on one side, so I'm going to bring this negative 2 over to the right-hand side here. So instead of subtracting 2x, now I'm going to add 2x. If I'm going to the opposite side, I have to use the opposite operation. Well, these cancel. What's negative 2 plus 2? Well, let me type it in. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Ooh, all right. So that means I don't have any more x's. It was 0. It's just canceling. Okay, so now I'm going to bring down what's left. I have a 13 over here, and I have a positive 1 over here. Does 13 equal 1? Are $13 and $1 the same amount? Nah, I don't think so. So 13 doesn't equal 1. That means A has no solution. All right, so that's going to be our answer for A. Let's look at B. All right, same thing. It looks like I'm going to draw my train tracks in. Okay, I got some parentheses. I got to get rid of those. So I'm going to look at my coefficient out front. It's a positive 3.
Microphone check, microphone check.
So sorry guys for that disturbance in the background. So I'm going to multiply 3 to both of his neighbors. Here we go. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6. I'm going to bring everything else down, minus x plus 4. I look at the right-hand side. Those are not like terms, so I'm again just going to bring them down. All right, I'm looking at the left-hand side. A lot going on here. Pretty busy. So I'm going to see if I have any like terms that I can combine. Well, I have a 3x in the front, and I have a negative x towards the back. I have a positive 6 in the front and a positive 4 in the back.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Those are like
1, 2, 3.
terms. So sorry, guys. Those are like terms, so I can go ahead and combine them. Don't forget, there's really that invisible 1 in front of the x. So this is a negative 1x, all right? So in the calculator,
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I would type in 3 minus 1, and I would get 2. So now I have 2 x's. In the calculator, I would type in 6 plus 4. 6 plus 4 is 10. And then I'm going to let that equal my 4x minus 50. All right. I don't have any more like terms on the left. I don't have any like terms on the right. So that means I have to now start going to opposite sides. Okay, I'm going to bring my smaller x value to my bigger x value. This is a positive 2. I'm going to make it a negative 2 because, again, I'm going to the opposite side, so I have to do the opposite operation. These cancel. Here we go. I'm going to bring my train tracks down a little bit further. All I have left now is a 10 on the left. 4 minus 2 is 2, so now I have a 2x. And then minus 50. Minus 50, I just bring that down. Now that all my x's are on the right-hand side, I'm gonna move my numbers to the left-hand side. So the opposite of subtracting 50 is adding 50. So I'm gonna add 50 to both sides. Bring my train tracks down a little bit more. All I have left now is the 2x on the right-hand side. And then on the left, 10 plus 50 is 60. And then last but not least, x is on the right. He's hanging out with 2. I got to get rid of that 2. All right, the opposite of multiplication is division. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And here is my final answer. X equals 60 divided by 2 is 30. I'm getting one final answer here, so that would be one solution. That's what I'm going to write. This would represent one solution. Okay, I want you to try C on your own, and then we'll check back for that answer in a minute. All right, here's the answer to C. You should have had no solution when you solved all the way through. You should have had different numbers on both sides, so we know that that would have been no solution. All right, number 6. It says, which of the following verbal statements represents the algebraic equation? 1/4 x minus 5 equals 25. So because this is multiple choice, use that to your advantage. Don't make this problem any harder than it has to be. Right off the bat, I'm seeing again the fraction 1/4. So I'm going to start reading through my answer choices to see if any of those have a 1/4 inside them. So as I read part A, it says 1/4 of a number. Okay, so we see the 1/4. Let's read B. 4 times a number less than 5 is equal to 25. Well, that isn't a 4, right? It's a 1/4. I need a 1/4, not a 4. That means right off the bat, it can't be choice B. Now let me read C. It says 5 less than 1/4. Okay, 1/4 is in the problem, so maybe it's C. And now let's look at D. 5 less than 4 times. And again, we know it's not 4, it's 1/4. So 4, that's not going to work either. So I know it's not choice D. That means it has to be A or C. So now I have to cube that, right? Circle my key numbers, box my math action words to see which one really represents the equation at the top. So I'm going to circle my numbers. We got 1/4 of a number. It's less than 5, right, is equal to 25. All right, so that's all my numbers. Now let me go back and look for my math action words, those important words. 1/4 of a number. If I have 1/4 of a number, that represents multiplication. I'm going to show that with parentheses. Less than. Less is a subtraction word. Then tells me to switch the order. And is equal to, well, if it's equal, it's equal. I'm just going to put an equal sign. So if I were to rewrite this on the side, it's 1/4 times x, 1/4 times x minus 5 equals 25, right? Equals 25. But the most important piece was that switch word then. So it's not going to be 1/4 x minus 5. It should have been, because I got to switch the order, it should have been 5 minus 1/4 x equals 25. Is this matching the original statement up top? No, it does not. So I know it's not A. That means it has to be C. But I want to just double check. That doesn't hurt. So if I cube this question here, it says 5. So 5 less than 1/4, less than 1/4 of a number is equal to 25. 25. Now I'll go back and box the keywords here. So less then less is to subtract, then is to switch. Of is a multiplication word, so I'm using parentheses to show that. And then is equal to, well, that just means it equals. Okay, let's rewrite C. 5 minus 1/4 times x. 5 minus 1/4 times x equals 25.
Testing 1, 2.
But you can't forget, again, we got that switch word here. You know what? I want to make sure that we are not missing that at all. Let's give it a highlight. Then. Then tells us to switch the order. So I have to switch these guys around. So it's really 1/4 x minus 5 that's going to equal 25. So we know that this isn't the answer, this is. And if I look back at the original problem, I can see that they match. So this is definitely the correct choice. Okay, let's look at the next page. All right, you guys are now going to work on numbers 7 all the way to 11. You're gonna finish the review, and then I'm gonna just show the answers at the end of the video. Please make sure that you are truly trying these questions on your own and not just watching the video at the end, right? You wanna make sure that you're testing your own knowledge. What do I know at this point? What do I not know? What am I successful with? What am I unsuccessful with? So that way you can message us in Canvas if you have any questions or concerns. All right, good luck. Check. All right, here are the answers for 7 to 11. So number 7, showing all my work, I solved it through, x equals 4. And then you can always do a quick check like we did on the first page to plug it back in and make sure you get the same answer on both sides. That's how you can check to see if it's correct, and it was. If you look at number 8, the directions ask me to solve for h. So if I want to get h by itself, well, at first, h, the r squared, and the pi, they were all stuck together using multiplication. But the issue was I only wanted h. So the opposite of multiplication is division. I divided away those two guys that I didn't want. So whatever I do to one side, I do to the other, and this would have been my final answer. These are not like terms, nothing, comes from them. So that would have been where I stopped at number 8. Here are the answers to number 9 and part A and B. Same thing, when you get your answers down below, you could have plugged them back in to double check if they work or not. All right, so that's number 9. And then moving on to the last page here. So number 10, again, it says determine what the answer is going to be and what type of solution you're gonna have. All right, so if we remember, let me just highlight this quickly. We could have no solution. That means there's no answer at all. Infinite solutions, that means you have the same answer on both sides, or just one solution, like x equals 5, x equals -10. I'm getting an answer choice. So as I solve this through, it turns out that I was just left with a 10 on the left and a 10 on the right. Since I had the same number on both sides, it was an infinite answer choice. And again, it's infinite because it was the same on both sides, 10 and 10. It could have been 5 and 5, 30 and 30, all right? And then number 11, again, this was very straightforward. It was definitely the most difficult question because you had to distribute or multiply out on the left and the right-hand side. Solve all the way through, and you should have got x equals -28. All right, good luck. I hope you guys are studying. And as a reminder, always, please do not open and start that test until you are confident that you are ready to take it. You have an hour and a half. There's a little play button if you want to hear any of the questions read to you. All right, and don't rush. All right, you have plenty of time. You have double the time that you would normally have if we were in regular school. All right, have a great day.